Hey there, Rednecks Preppies, Redneck Preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great, good. If you're new to reloading or shooting, you probably haven't gone far enough down the rabbit hole to have purchased a chronograph. It's essentially a device that tells you how fast a bullet is traveling after you've fired it. Now, why would you want to know this? Well, if you're a shooter, be it target or hunter, you want to know how closely your ammunition hews to the specified speed a bullet is supposed to be traveling and how consistent that is across the number of fired shots. You want to know this because inconsistent velocity means making consistent shots is harder. For reloaders, well, we want to know the same thing. For all the great things that reloading manuals and modeling software like Gordon's reloading tool can offer us, the velocities that are listed or calculated are based either on test outfits in the case of manuals or assumptions baked into formulas in the latter. A chronograph removes all doubt. You get measurements of your ammunition, and it's a key tool in the armory of a shooter or reloader who wants to take that step to the next level. Now, Garmin, a company better known for their sports watches and GPS units, recently entered the fray with their Xero C1 Pro shooting chronograph, which uses Doppler radar like other chronographs, including the lab radar. It comes in at US $599.99 or Canadian $799.99. That's a fair bit of pocket change for most people, and today I hope to answer the question of whether it's worth it. Now, normally when I do an unboxing, there's plenty to take out of the box. Not so much with this offering. Opening up the box, and if you own any of their other products, you'll probably recognize this as being a familiar look. You are immediately greeted by the unit itself and a short tripod. Now, don't let the tripod underwhelm you. It's actually perfect for what it is. Now, underneath this layer, we come across an included USB Type-C cord, which apparently I'm going to drop, that you use to recharge this unit. We have a quick start guide, which, to be honest, I doubt you'll even make use of. We also have a product safety guide because apparently everything in the world needs a safety guide for fear that it will turn into a thermonuclear device. And this is what you're getting for your money. Now, as you can see, the chronograph itself is pretty small. It's about the size of a GoPro if you're familiar with that product. It's just over 3 inches wide, 2.38 inches tall, and it's about 1.5 inches at its thickest point and just over 1 inch at its thinnest. With the tripod, this will all stand about 5 inches high. It weighs 105.6 grams without the tripod, 161 grams with it. At the bottom, as you can see, it has a 1/4 thread at the bottom, so that means your standard tripod mounts will work with this if you want to use it with another tripod. Inside the unit is a non-replaceable rechargeable battery, which Garmin says will last for 2,000 shots or 6 hours. This is IPX7 rated, so it can last up to 30 minutes in 1 meter of water without damage, and it works in temperatures from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 55 degrees Celsius, or for you America talkers, 14 degrees Fahrenheit to 131 degrees Fahrenheit. Finally, the screen itself is 2.2 inches diagonally. It's 240 by 320 pixels. It is trans-reflective and monochrome. When I said earlier that you probably won't even need the quick start guide, I wasn't being facetious. This thing is, in fact, very easy to use. On the top, we have 4 buttons. You have your up-down arrows here to navigate menus. You have a button which allows you to go back up a level and also doubles as the power button. And you've got an OK button, which allows you to obviously choose whatever menu option you're on. Turning it on for the first time, it's going to ask you a couple of basic questions like how you want to measure your shots, feet per second, meters per second, that sort of thing, which you can change later if you want. What language you want to use, the usual stuff. Once you've cleared that hurdle, you are ready to go. So the main menu gives you 3 options. Selecting the first allows you to start a new session of measuring velocities. You can choose, rifle, pistol, bow, air rifle, and other. Within each of these, you can choose the velocity range you'll be measuring. When you're in a session, you can pause the session, cancel the session. Very easy to use. For history, as the name suggests, you are able to look at your previous sessions. You can save up to 50 sessions with 100 shots in each before you actually have to sync it to the app. So, fair amount of data there to be sure. Finally, we have settings. And here you're able to change the units that you measure in, the display color. You can change that from white to black, the strength of the backlight, pro settings, which essentially allow you to input bullet weight so it can calculate power for you, which is useful for people who shoot things like IPSC. Your language, connecting to your phone, resetting the unit, and about. And that'll tell you what software version you're running. Like I said, that's basically it. This thing is incredibly easy to use. I'm not a big fan of things requiring phone applications, but I live in Caesar's world, so I render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. The good news is you don't actually need Garmin's ShotView application to use the chronograph. That said, if you want to export your data to your PC, you will actually need to do that. It also allows you to download the data from the chronograph, edit it, and keep extensive records. You can organize your data and add notes to it as well. It's useful enough, I suppose. Now, this is stuff I actually prefer to do on my PC so that I can unleash a good old-fashioned spreadsheet on my data. So I do appreciate that you can actually get your data off of the ShotView application. Now, you can get it for free for both iPhone and Android. As phone applications go, it's okay. According to both Google Play and the Apple Store, this thing doesn't harvest your data. But among the permission it demands, if you install it, are viewing network and Wi-Fi connections and accessing your location while it's running. It doesn't need any of that stuff. Now, those of us with de-Googled phones, granular permission setting and location spoofing laugh at this sort of thing. But the rest of you may be annoyed by it if you're into your privacy. Have I mentioned how easy it is to use this? Because if I haven't, let me show you. Take tripod. Screw tripod on. Turn it on. Select which profile to use. Point down range. That's it. You're done. Coming from other chronographs, which can be a bit of a pain in the rear to set up properly, this thing is so simple that I sometimes wondered if I was missing something. But no, that is, in fact, how easy it is. Now, I've tested it a few times at the range. The very subpar video that you're seeing now is from the last trip where the sun decided to go supernova and blow my image out, which, of course, was the only time I actually also decided to film a test. On this trip and every other, I never lost a shot. Not one. Not due to a person shooting beside me, nor to the unit not registering a shot I took. I'm not saying that it will never be confused. Some of that is dependent on where you place the unit and how close it is to another shooter. But in my range trips, this thing accurately and consistently captured all of my shots. At the end of the day, it is a Doppler unit, and as great as this thing is, it will undoubtedly occasionally register other people's shots or miscalculate velocity. Only God and my mother are perfect. But I will say it again. Based on what I saw and what I know about the ammunition that I used, the Xero C1 Pro registered every shot and calculated them correctly. Now, I did test this against my other chronograph, a Shooting Chrony F1 chronograph, which uses the principle of a bullet casting a shadow across sensors to measure speed. And they were both generally within a few feet per second of each other. Now, other reviewers, such as Jonathan Ocab, have gone full hog and tested them against a magnetospeed and a lab radar, and the 3 units measuring simultaneously were all posting similar data. As they noted in their reviews, they couldn't tell you which unit was actually correct, assuming any of them were, but the fact that all 3 were within, let's say, 10 feet per second at most for bullet velocity spoke to the accuracy of all 3, and including this one. Let me say, I am rarely blown away by how well something works. Like you, I've heard so many promises by companies about their products that I tend to roll my eyes and then find out how short they're going to fall. With this, I left the range flabbergasted, and that's a word I haven't used in a long time, by how well this works. As always, I am contractually obligated to present pros and cons to make this a real review, so let's leap into them. First up, cons. Now, this is probably not going to be a big thing for most people, but I'm one of those annoying right to repair people. I believe that unless you can fix or maintain what you own, or at least have the ability to decide who fixes or maintains it, you don't actually own it. The battery in this is not user replaceable according to Garmin. In 2023, that is absolutely unacceptable. There's no way that you can tell me that a device which can be opened, it has screws ringing the front, couldn't have also been designed to allow me to change a battery. The lithium-ion battery in this thing will eventually die, and while I can probably continue to power it with an external power bank in that situation, what happens if the battery starts to expand, as they often do in aging electronics like cell phones? Is my expensive chronograph just going to do a slow motion detonation and there's nothing I can do about it? Unacceptable. The second one is cost. At US 600 or Canadian 800, it costs a pretty penny. Now granted, you are getting a very small and capable chronograph. This is arguably a game-changing chronograph. Unfortunately, game-changing things cost money. That's it for cons. Time for the pros. Will you be shocked if I mentioned the size of this thing as a pro? If there is a smaller shooting chronograph that is available on the commercial market, I'm not aware of it. Now, I know about the SQI AndyScan out of England, but it appears that the Xero C1 Pro is actually smaller. Notably, it's also a little cheaper than the AndyScan, though not by much. The ease of use on this thing is scary good. I honestly believe had I given this to someone who didn't know what a shooting chrono was and asked them to get it going, that they could have accomplished this in no time. My Shooting Chrony F1, that's ostensibly less technically advanced, probably would have given him fits doing the exact same thing. Now that's partly the march of technology, but it's also a testament to Garmin not complicating for the sake of complication. I've found this to be as accurate as tested against my other chronograph. As I noted earlier, other reviewers have also tested several chronographs against the Xero and found it to be in line. Ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever you're likely to use is going to give you a very close approximation of actual velocity because we're dealing with consumer level gear. If you want absolute accuracy, you're going to need to go to professional equipment. It's probably going to cost as much as your car. The unit is rugged and well constructed, and although it's very light, it's not that like cheap kind of light, where it feels like the inside is mostly empty space. It just feels like it's a well-made light product. I'm sure this will stand up to most rigors you subject it to. At the end of the day, though, screens are screens, so I wouldn't play a game of rugby with the Xero C1 Pro. It's hard to argue against the Xero C1 Pro. It's so small and handy. It's GoPro sized with its little baby Yoda tripod that there's no reason not to have this with you at all times when you hit the range. You'll appreciate that using it is essentially taking it out of your bag, putting it on the bench, pointing it down range, and turning it on. I know that people love their lab radars and magneto speeds, but those same people also seem to spend as much time bitching about them as praising them. Lab radars are definitely larger and they can be finicky to set up, but cheaper than the Xero. Magneto speeds are also a bit cheaper, but can be a pain to use with some rifles. You don't have any of that with the Xero. Well, outside of that increased cost. It's compact, it's easy to use, and it's no less accurate than its competitors. No knocks on chronographs like the Lab Radar and Magneto Speed. They're both quality products, and if I had to, I wouldn't hesitate to use them. I'll be honest, the lack of a user replaceable battery on the Xero sticks in my craw. I'm the type of guy to maintain and use my stuff for decades. Hell, I have shirts I still wear from the early 1990s. And I don't like phone applications interfacing with my gear. Call me a Luddite, but not everything on the planet needs to be tied to your phone. That said, the Xero is a compelling enough bit of kit that I can tolerate those downsides. It's small and light, so it can disappear into my range bag, and it provides accurate and useful data. The fact that it's easy to use doesn't hurt either. So would I recommend the Garmin Xero C1 Pro? Well, if cost isn't a sticking point with you, and in our current times I can certainly understand if it is, it would be difficult for me not to recommend it. It hits all of the points you want out of something like this. Compact, capable, easy to use, and accurate. I dislike praising companies as a principle, but I have to admit that Garmin largely hit it out of the park with this. So yes, if you need a chronograph, have money burning in your pocket, and you can't convince your loved ones to buy it for you for Christmas, I would seriously consider picking one up. At any rate, I hope you found today's video to at least be vaguely entertaining and mildly informative. As always, I hope your trips to the range are always fun. Take care, and bye-bye.